kitchen today. You're going to notice I'm in an area where you're going to find all of our smallwares. All of our smallwares and the small things that we use in the kitchen, relatively speaking, that we use consistently, that you are going to need to execute your tasks. Remember, on Friday we discussed if you choose the right tool for the job, you're going to get it done more efficiently and effectively. So as I say these items and what they are and what they do, if you would follow along with your PowerPoint that will kind of turn into your flashcards, if you will. Make sure you've already got the picture has already been provided, but I would like you to follow up with what that item does, okay? So the first thing that we're going to look at is going to be the colander. All right, so I've got one here in front of us. These are actually located above the produce washing sink. The colander, quite simply put, is to remove water, typically, okay? Remove water. So our cooked product ends up in the colander, and then out the colander comes all the water. That may be pasta, could be carrots, could be peas. It doesn't really matter. But the colander is to remove water, cooking water. Alternatively, you can also use what we call a strainer. Similar concept, it's got holes in it, they're a little bit finer. Does the same thing. You can grab either one and it's going to work for what it is that you need. So we have, technically speaking, the colander has the base, a strainer does not. Both of them same purpose, but colander, strainer. Right, moving on, we have our measuring spoons. For this, your definition or what it does, measures small amount of ingredients. Measures small amount of ingredients. Okay, just our measuring spoons versus our measuring cups. In this case, dry measuring cups. We discussed on Friday why it is so important that we are so specific with our needs. So we have our dry measuring cups used for measuring dry ingredients. Okay, quite simply put, used for measuring dry ingredients. Flour, sugar, rice, oatmeal, all of those are some good examples of what I may use these dry measuring cups for. Okay, versus a liquid measuring cup. Like I told you though, sometimes we've got to find the most effective tool for the job. If we need 8 cups of liquid, well, this 2-cup measuring cup is not going to do very good. So instead, we're going to grab one that's appropriate size. Instead of instead of having to get 4 of these, we've got 1 of these. So we do have a variety of sizes. We have one all the way up to a gallon as well. So we want to get our job done quickly and effectively. So we've got a variety of sizes for our liquid measuring cups. Liquid measuring cups. Okay. The next one is ladle. Ladle. This is used for portioning out liquids. Portioning out liquids. Anything from marinara sauce to a gravy to a soup, doesn't really matter. Again, they come in a variety of sizes. And those variety of sizes are very, very specific in measurement. If I'm at a restaurant, this helps me to control costs. Everyone who is getting gravy on chicken, they all get this one scoop. That scoop costs the same amount on everyone's plate, so we can control the cost. So the ladle is scooping out, or portioning out liquids, even amounts. All right. The next one that we have here is the spider. The spider. This one's got a little bit smaller holes, but used to remove items from a fryer. Okay, used to remove items from a fryer. This is called a spider, and I just very, very easily reach into my fry oil with this. It's got a long handle so that I don't get injured in the process, and the oil comes out the other side. So very, very effective tool here. The next thing I have is my rolling pin to roll out dough. Rolling pin to roll out dough. Pie crust is typically what we use this on. Sometimes biscuits and a variety of other things if we needed to, but pie crust and biscuits come to mind with the things that we work on here in this kitchen. Next item is a zester. We spoke about this one on Friday, so hopefully this one shouldn't be too unfamiliar. Remove the outer layer of citrus. To remove the outer layer of citrus, things like oranges, lemons, and limes are most popular with our zester. Okay, next one, mixing bowls. Listen carefully here. Mixing bowls are used for two things. For prepping items, so I can prep a brownie batter in here or cookie dough, or I can prep anything I want. I can toss my chicken in a seasoning in here. This is for prepping. I can also use it for serving. So my final product I might serve in this bowl and put it out on a display for people to see. So mixing bowls are used for prepping and serving foods. Prepping and serving foods. We'll look about how this is different from another item here in just a moment. All right, this one you may not have seen before. This one is pretty unfamiliar to a lot of people. This one is called a china cap. A china cap. Also known as a chinois, C-H-I-N-O-I-S, a chinois. And this is used for straining stocks. Straining stocks. So when I'm making a stock that is typically made of a chicken carcass, onions, celery, and carrots, and some maybe peppercorns in there, bay leaf. And when I'm done making my stock, when it's done simmering, I want to remove all of that, all of the carcass and the vegetables, but I want the liquid. So what happens is all of that fluff ends up in here, if you will, and all of the liquid, my stock, comes out the other side. So this is used for straining stocks. It's called a chinois. Okay. The next item I have here is a whisk. These actually come in a variety of looks. This one very specifically is a balloon whisk. Because of its shape on the very end, you do have flat whisks as well, which are flat but have the same concept. Used for whisking eggs or making batters. Okay, again, the whisk used for whisking eggs or making batter. Anything where we want air incorporated. So this is going to help us to incorporate air, which is oftentimes what we want, especially in our baked goods. The next item we have here are tongs. Tongs, T-O-N-G-S. Spelling does matter. I've had people put in an H in there before, if you catch my drift. So tongs, this is a really good way of looking at our serve-safe material. When we don't want to touch things with our bare hands, we use tongs instead. So used to flip items, remove items, used to serve items. The tongs are just used as a precautionary measure for whether it be cooking or serving. Okay, so we've got our tongs. Next thing is we have our thermometer, used for checking the internal temperature. Used for checking the internal temperature. We've seen this tool before, so I will move on. The next one, we have to be very specific with our request here. Okay, or when you come into a kitchen, you're speaking to your group, and someone says, "I need a spatula." Well, you need to be a little bit more specific. There are a variety of types of spatulas. This one specifically is a rubber spatula, and it is used for mainly two purposes: scraping down the side of bowls. Again, the rubber spatula is used for scraping down the sides of bowls if I need to get anything off, or it is also used for a very, very specific culinary technique that we call folding. And folding is very, very gently folding from the bottom to the top. And to fold in, you want something gentle, so you're often using your rubber spatula. Okay, again, rubber spatula, very specific in our request. Used for scraping down the sides of bowls, and folding in is a technique. All right, the next item. I do not want these to be called an ice cream scoop. When we call these an ice cream scoop, you limit what they're allowed to do. Okay, these are more than just an ice cream scoop. Ice cream is an option, but we could also use these on cookie dough, or portioning out even amounts of macaroni and cheese, even mashed potatoes, all sorts of things. These are called portion scoops. Portion scoops, and they are used to portion out even amounts of soft items. Okay, used to portion out even amounts of soft items. Those are our portion scoops. The next thing we have is a vegetable. I caught myself. We're just going to call it a peeler. We call it a vegetable peeler, and we limit its abilities. This is just simply a peeler used to peel fruits or vegetables. Okay, so used to peel fruits or vegetables. The next item we have here is a bench scraper, used to cut dough or clean up stations, also used in preparation for a variety of different things. This bench scraper can be used for, but to cut dough and scrape down stations are the two most prominent things that you use a bench scraper for. The next item we have here is our box grater, used for grating hard items. Hard items such as carrots, zucchini, cheese, all of those. Potatoes if we wanted to. Our box grater, it's got the 4 sides, used for grating hard items. All right. The other type of spatula that we have here is our offset spatulas. These have a couple of different looks to them. By offset, I mean it's not all one layer. Okay, it's not flat. And so we've got an offset spatula right here. This kind of offset spatula would be used for flipping pancakes or items. You kind of see the same thing here. See how offset it is. Okay, used to flip things easily. We also have really, really small offset spatulas. These may be used for cake decorating and icings. The next item I have is a pastry brush, used for brushing egg wash, melted butter, cream on the outsides of pastry items. Okay, used for brushing butter, egg wash, or cream on the outside of pastry items, a pastry brush. The next thing we have here is our sifter, okay, a sifter. And when we want to sift flour, we're going to send it through a sifter, and it is going to remove any impurities. Lumps is primarily what we're looking for there. So we want to remove those lumps. It also helps to incorporate just a little bit of air as it gets sifted through. Now you see one other picture on your screen. That is called a sieve, S-I-E-V-E, but it is pronounced sieve. Same purpose. That one specifically is a drum sieve. We don't have one of those there here in this kitchen, but if you were to put the flour in the center of that drum sieve and then just tap the side of it, that flour is going to come out without any impurities as well. All right, the next item, we call this a pizza cutter, okay? That's pretty obvious. However, you don't want to limit its abilities either, so you could honestly probably just call it a cutter, because I've been known to use this on brownies before. Makes really, really nice, easy, quick cuts. So pizza cutter, but do not limit its abilities depending on what it is that you're cutting. You can always use the pizza cutter to aid in that process. The next item I have is a hotel pan. A hotel pan. Now, here is where I said earlier, we've got our mixing bowls, and there was something that sets our mixing bowls apart from hotel pans. Our mixing bowls were used for just prepping and serving. Okay, just prepping and serving. The difference with a hotel pan is I can prep, I can cook in, and I can serve. So this hotel pan can very easily go into the oven. I can bake whatever, so say I've got macaroni and cheese in here and I'm gonna bake my macaroni and cheese off. I can prep my macaroni and cheese in here. I can then move this to the oven, and then I can move this to a steam table very, very easily, and people can serve themselves with a portion scoop. They can serve the macaroni and cheese from this hotel pan. So that's the difference between a mixing bowl and a hotel pan. This I can prep, cook, and serve, okay? These do come in a variety of sizes, but they are all considered to be hotel pans. They fit directly into steam tables, so they're very, very effective in that way. They come shallow, and they also come just a little bit deeper, okay? So hotel pans. All right, the next item I have is called a stock pot, a stock pot. And this is taller, but it's not quite as wide as the next pot that we're gonna look at, okay? Used for cooking large amounts of ingredients, okay? Honestly, I'm just gonna grab this if I have a lot that I need to cook at one time. Also, hence its name, a stock pot. Because it's so tall and so narrow, it is also a very, very good pot for making stock. Because there's going to be less evaporation. It's deeper but more small at the top. That allows for less evaporation. So either used for making stocks or simply cooking large amounts of ingredients. Notice that on any of our pots have got two handles. Okay, our pots have got two handles versus our pan that you're going to see in a moment only have one. So a stock pot. Versus, and I want you to notice the difference. I'm going to hold both of these up for a minute. Our sauce pot. Okay, sauce pot is a little bit lower, but it's much wider. Okay, it too is used for cooking large quantities. So if I want to cook a lot of pasta, I am going to choose this sauce pot. Again, our sauce pot has two handles. It's much wider, much open, more open. You're going to have a lot more evaporation here. Okay, versus, and I'm just trying to show you some of the difference here, our sauce pan. So first of all, our pan has one handle, our pot has two. Our sauce pot is meant for cooking large quantities, but our sauce pan is used for cooking smaller quantities. At this point, a lot of it is just grabbing the appropriate pan or pot size for the size of the product that you're trying to make at that time, okay? So if I'm making only about 4 cups of sauce, I'm gonna grab a sauce pan instead of a sauce pot. Right, and the last, there's two, but I only have one as an example here. And generally speaking, we're gonna call this a saute pan. These two come in a variety of sizes, so I've got some that are double this size as well. But this is a saute pan. At home, you may call it a skillet, but in the commercial kitchen, we're going to refer to it as a saute pan. Now, this one specifically has a slope side, so it's very. If you went into a more French terminology, is called a sauteuse. A sauteuse. Because it's got slope sides. This makes it very easily for tossing. So if we wanted to saute onions and bell peppers, this would be a great pan to choose. Alternatively, You've got saute pans that have straight sides. Alternatively, you've got pans that have straight sides. I don't have any of those here in this kitchen. Those are going to be used more for pan frying because we want all the oil to stay in the pan. And when we have this lip, we're from a precautionary standpoint, we're getting a little bit more finicky. We don't want that oil to go anywhere. So we want we call it a sautoir if we're getting the French terminology. Both of them are saute pans. They're used to saute. However, one has got a slope side and one has got a straight side. Okay, slope helps to facilitate in the tossing. That takes us through mainly all of our smallwares. I hope that you have had a minute to write down what it does in your PowerPoint. If you have not, if you've missed something, either listen back through my lecture or go Google it. Google is going to tell you what that product does as well. But I hope that I have helped to explain what each of our smallwares are used for. Thank you.